Howdy, y'all, and welcome back to the channel. Or if you're new, welcome to the channel. I am Professor Parks, PhD, and I make content on astronomy, mental health, and science skepticism, not necessarily in that order. So, welcome back to one of my Shouting into the Voids episodes. Couple of announcements. Basically, it's going to be just an announcement stream. I will talk about some kind of funny space business that occurred last week, but mainly, there are a couple things I want to talk about. That one of them will directly affect the channel, which is in fact related. This was not clickbait. It is in fact related to becoming a NASA shill, as it were. Howdy, Clive, Roke, good to see you. Judy, always a pleasure. Cygnus, Stephanie, I saw you on, what was it? It was one of Toon's debates. I can't remember where it was. You were on the opposing side's chat. And apparently you do not have a very high opinion of Michael, which I kind of already knew, but it was kind of interesting to see. Howdy, Peter. And we have AL. Yeah, I think it was on Jeranism, maybe. I don't know. He's been doing a couple more. He's been getting on Modern Day Debate, which he swore off for some reason. And, well, he swore off because the moderation sucks. But for whatever reason, he has decided to come back, not just once, but twice. Oh, yeah. Vika, he's an interesting looking individual at the very least, but I shouldn't. I have no place to comment on someone else's appearance, considering how freaking fat I'm becoming. So I think it was MDD. Vika was interesting. I don't know if I stayed for the entire event, but I don't really remember what his shtick was, what he brought to the table in terms of new flat Earth. My memory has been absolute crap recently, primarily because I haven't been getting a lot of sleep, and I've been suffering. So anyway. Oh, yes, he's a documentarian, and he made it about the machine, the Akalakos machine, the first mechanical computer that was made in the Grecian period. I had a colleague at at LSU who was obsessed with the thing. He tried to explain it to me once as to what it was and why it was significant, other than, obviously the first mechanical computer, but I kind of just stopped listening. I really haven't looked into it. But apparently there is some kind of mystery surrounding the thing. I don't believe it is. Has it been found? Do we have it? Or I don't know. Anyway. So science news. The fun science news. Fun science news is yes, memory is like howdy, Peter. Memory is like rabbit holes. I used to refer, when I was younger, I said that my memory was like Swiss cheese. Things would land on the cheesy bits, or fall through the holes, and I would forget. Well, as I get older, the holes are getting larger and the cheesier bits are getting smaller. The mechanical realm shows the astronomical positions of celestial bodies. Yeah. We're doing pretty well with what we have now. With computers and so forth. So that's probably one of the reasons I'm not a huge fan in archaeoastronomy. Yeah, basically the archaeology of astronomy, Stonehenge, Newcastle, the Mayans. I don't think Machu Picchu is actually an observatory, but obviously there are ancient observatories all over the world. It's not really my thing. I am getting to be more of a history buff when it comes to astronomy, but when it comes to astronomy, but yeah, I never really got into the ancient stuff. Yes, technically, I suppose you could call it ancient tech. However, it was limited. I Again, I don't know. I'm coming at this blind, but it was an amazing piece of engineering at the time. Nowadays, not so much. And it is amazing what I've always found amazing about the early engineers is what you can get accomplished simply with a lever or a fulcrum. Um, the the things that the ancients were able to do given very simple machines is, to me, is mind-boggling. I the ingenuity, uh, the the amount, or the ingenuity and the work that went into it is, granted, in many cases the work was done by slaves, but well, I'm thinking the pyramid specifically. But anyway, where was I going with this? Oh yes, history was made last week. Let me see if I can bring this up. Where is it? Aha, too many tabs. So much high, what do you call it? IQ research. Oh, let's do this. That. There you go. I'm going to minimize this because it's now. I'll just put it over here. That'll work. So, February 15th, I made mention this before, and I actually got it wrong when on stream. I think I made a redaction. I mentioned that SpaceX was going to have a lander on the moon. That is not accurate. Kind of accurate, but not really. What happened was there was a company by the name of Intuitive Machines, and they built this lander that's on the schematic, or the picture is on the screen, obviously, called Odyssey, or Odysseus, rather. Odysseus. And they launched it using a SpaceX Falcon Heavy 9 rocket. And it successfully-ish landed on the moon, which means that this is the first American endeavor to land on a lander to land on the moon since the Apollo era. USA, USA. And, but more importantly, it is the first commercial lander on the moon. So while there is that nice American flag on it, apparently there's also a nice Texas flag on it. Presumably Intuitive Machines is based in Texas somewhere. It is, in fact, a corporation. It is not a national thing. It is a corporation. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because it is, well, I mean, it is historic. Like I said, it is the first lander. It is the first commercial piece of property that is now on the moon. And as I've made mention many, many times, this is not going to be a one-off. This is going to continue to go forward. More companies are going to put things on the moon for a variety of different reasons. This one is located near Malapert A, which is a crater near the South Pole. It is notable in that there is water ice at the base of Malapert A. Because the crater is deep enough that there isn't any direct sunlight, and so the water does not melt, or sublimate rather. So I don't funny enough, and maybe because it is commercial, or maybe it is because I'm lazy and I haven't actually done my high IQ research, my own research, is I don't know what this thing is meant to do. It's there, but something, and I think Dan, and this is particularly for Dan, the waterman out there. And I'm going to get to that, Peter. I'm going to get to that. They actually have a camera built by students, apparently, from I don't know, where was it? Where did they build it? Who built the camera? Emery Riddle, which hosts actually that one is probably campus is probably in Arizona, but the Florida campus, minor tangent, has the largest university telescope on the eastern seaboard. We have the second largest. They got a nice 1 meter plane wave down there. Anyway, so they built this camera, and the purpose of this camera was to deploy during the landing process so that they could film the landing. Don't know why, but that was their thing. So for all of those out there who have been clamoring for a actual view of something landing on the moon, apparently you've been heard, at least by corporations. And I think it's probably going to be a corporation who does it because, well, they got the money to blow on it. But sadly, it didn't get deployed because they were using a range finding system called LiDAR, and apparently it messed up. So there was a navigation fault, and ultimately, yes, it is now laying down on the job as a good American should, or does. But it's functional, like good American engineering. It takes a beating, or takes a licking, keeps on ticking. Apparently, it's completely functional. It's just horizontal rather than vertical. In this article, this is space.com. The thing I found would be most amusing about this. So they were using NDL, which is navigation Doppler LiDAR, for precise velocity and range sensing. That's interesting. The acronym only uses the first 3 letters. So this would be NDLPVRS. I guess that's a mouthful, even for an acronym. Here we go. Where did it? Maybe I passed it. I probably passed it. Nope, I didn't pass it. I'm probably giving people. There it is. Okay, so this thing was apparently supposed to have no tangential or no lateral movement, meaning that it wasn't supposed to move along the X direction. It's only supposed to fall straight down, and it was supposed to do that at around 3 kilometers per hour. Well, apparently, the navigation failed, and so it was moving in 3 kilometers per hour, but in the X direction. It was actually moving around 10 kilometers per hour in the Y direction. So it fell far faster than it was intended to. And what I like is the term slightly off nominal speeds. It's a great way of saying, oops, we fucked up. It was traveling too fast. And so basically it tripped on itself. So either it hit a crater, hit a crevice, or probably just hit the surface at an angle, and it tripped over itself. Momentum basically carried it over. But I did not put that together. Yeah, so Odysseus was in fact the Greek hero who came up with the Trojan horse. Yep, that is true. Now you might be wondering, you might be thinking to yourself, man, 10 kilometers per hour and 3 kilometers per hour is kind of a good clip. So why is it 100% functional? Because, this thing isn't exactly made out of cast iron. Well, that's because of gravity. The gravity on the moon is 1/6 that of, this is a supposition, but my feeling is that because the gravity on the moon is 1/6 that of the Earth, it was a softer landing than one would expect for something traveling at 10 kilometers per hour down and 3 kilometers to the side. And yeah, it just basically fell over. Apparently, the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter is going to be flying by. Actually, I think it's going to be flying by sometime today or sometime this week. and it's going to be flying over that region. They're going to take snapshots of hopefully the craft, and they're going to see exactly what kind of orientation it's in. But at the moment, it's getting enough sun that it's going to still be powered. That camera, Eagle Cam, that was supposed to be deployed to watch the landing, is going to now be deployed. It wasn't deployed because I guess they didn't want to film their fuck up. They told people that they didn't deploy it because of the navigational issues. So really, I suppose they're worried that the Eagle Cam would fly off in one direction and Odysseus would fly off in some other place. So yeah, so stay tuned. They are going to be launching that thing, so yeah, we should have some live, at least pictures, if not video, of the Odysseus module on the moon. So inertia doesn't change, mass is the same. Is that right? Am I being wrong-headed about this? Because I'm thinking about the yeah, I think you're right. Okay. Thank you, Peter. I was being wrong-headed about it. So yes, the mass is the same, the velocity is the same. So yes, the inertia is the same. And so no, apparently it was built to take that kind of beating. So, oops, yeah. I'm getting old, I think. My mind is not as sharp as it used to be. Been making more and more of those little tiny mistakes. Either that or a brain tumor. Who knows? So I was a little bit tickled by that space news. So I thought I'd share. And again, in a more somber tone, I also shared it because, getting back on that soapbox, it's not a tumor. Yeah. Because again, I think that the pace at which we are moving out into space is far outstripping our ability to legislate and regulate it. And yes, I am heavily into, not only am I a globalist, I am also really big into big government, because I do believe that corporations basically are morally evil because they care more about profits than they do about human life. And so they are more than willing to fuck over people if it gives them money. So I think one of the government's job is to protect us from ourselves, specifically corporations. So we are vastly outpacing the government, particularly global governments, in how these things should be handled. Because eventually we're going to get into territorial disputes because we're human and we do that sort of thing. We've seen this in history many, many, many times, where, just looking at the American Wild West, where settlements vastly outpaced government, and the Wild West is romanticized for a reason because, hey, guns, stuff. So yeah, I am going to beat on this drum as much as I can, because I think these things need to be, this needs to seriously be considered. Is that, Russia is already, we believe, we don't have, it hasn't been confirmed, but U.S. intelligence highly apparently believes that Russia has a nuking satellite that is planning on putting it to orbit. Yay. So yeah. Let's see what we got here. Whether to deploy the camera was a choice like that between yeah. Hey, we got some Greek classics buffs in here. corporations run our government, unfortunately, bought by lobbyists. I wouldn't go so far. I think that corporations they certainly influence politics in a way that is, I've completely forgotten the word. They interfere with politics too much. Their leverage based on given lobbyists, their leverage on policy is too large. I don't think they control government, because to me is that corporations would dictate how the government operates. I don't think that that's what's happening. We come up with policies, and the corporation says, "I like that policy over that policy," and then they will apply their lever to make that happen. I don't know. I can't conjecture as to how effective they are, but considering what happened with what's happening with oil and what happened with tobacco, I'd say that they're pretty good at it. And of course, insurance companies and pharmaceutical companies. A world government led by a supreme emperor sounds like an excellent idea. Yeah. As I've said before, I am wholly in favor of a global government, really kind of irrespective of who runs it, because we're running into areas that problems that can only be solved by a global consensus. And I don't know if that's ever going to happen. Probably not. But that's where I think we are at this point, is climate change and space policy. These are global issues. And unless we have some kind of global government that actually can enforce or regulate these things, or regulate and thus enforce those regulations, I don't know how. I am very pessimistic about the future of our humanity. No, we don't really. The WHO and the UN are global institutions. However, the UN does have peacekeepers. I love how people with guns are named peacekeepers. They do have peacekeepers. They don't have no teeth. For one, the U.S., the Security Council, I think it's U.S., Russia, China, Britain, and France. I can't remember the other two. They have unilateral veto power. So when we put forward or rather, I think it was Algeria put forth a proposal that, hey, it might be kind of a cool idea for Israel and Palestinians to stop killing each other. U.S. said no. Everyone else on the panel said yes, but the U.S. said no, we don't like that idea. They should keep killing each other. Obviously, this is in jest. It's oversimplified, but the point is that the UN is not it's not a global government, in that it can easily be derailed. Its policies, its provisions cannot be enforced. Like, for instance, if Putin was brought up on war crime charges, it's not like someone can go into Russia and arrest the asshole. He just, there is no enforcement, which is the problem. As for the WHO, I'm not entirely certain what's their what's the word I'm looking for? What their regulations, how well they can enforce their own regulations. What do freedom fighters fight? Yes, Carlin. I love me some Carlin. I am a very dangerous person, leading the sheep to slaughter. Let the scared and fearful have this crap. Leave the actual grown-ups out of it. Only weak-minded people need to be told what to do. No. What I think is, I don't say weak or strong. I don't use that kind of language. What I do say is that humanity is selfish. Humanity is only self-concerned. And when we talk about space exploration, specifically when we talk about climate change, These are issues that go beyond the self. They go to society. I am a one of the pieces of philosophy, say political theory, that I wholly subscribe to is Rousseau's social contract. We are obligated to relinquish certain freedoms so that society itself can exist and grow and all of humanity can benefit. If we're not able to relinquish our own some freedoms, then we will devolve into anarchy, or rather autocracy, because the guy with the biggest stick is ultimately going to come up on top. So I think that bullshit. Awesome. So I think that it's society needs to be protected from people who don't care about society or other people, to be honest with you, to be perfectly frank about it. Anarchy is not chaos. You and I can both, I think we can agree to disagree on that. If you'd like to have a conversation about that online, face to face, or on stream, I would love to have it, but I don't want to get too far into dealing with these concerns, because that is not why I wanted to do this stream today. What I wanted to do this stream today was to what I wanted to talk about was the fact that there is a big change coming here at our small little university, and it is related to NASA. I can't go into too many details, or really any details, because and this is for all the skeptics out there. NASA gets real persnickety when you talk about stuff they have not publicly, or they have not themselves made public. So until NASA makes this thing public, I really can't talk about it. I'm going to be posting a video of a Evening Under the Stars talk by Dr. Josh Pepper. I think I mentioned this before. One of the holdups was due to technical difficulties. I cut where the part of the talk was not captured, about first 5 minutes or so. And in that first 5 minutes, he actually gives a disclaimer that what he is saying is not necessarily the viewpoints or positions held by NASA. Basically, it's a cover their own ass. That obviously NASA does not want because Dr. Pepper, yes, his name is Dr. Pepper, works for NASA. NASA does not want him to go out and just start spewing things that NASA doesn't fully agree with, so forth and so on. Me letting a cat out of the bag. No. So what I can say is I am very excited about this project. And I think that, and I'm hoping, I am only tangentially associated with this project. This project is going to involve many observatories, not quite around the globe, but many observatories. This is going to be one of them. I am going to be spearheading the observations made here at our observatory, because this project involves the current director of the observatory. And because of the magnitude of this project, Peter is going to be stepping down or stepping away. I think from a bureaucratic standpoint, he is going to get a promotion to the executive director of the observatory, whereas I will get a promotion to director of the observatory. So it's all mine. I don't know what this is. Am I hiding aliens? No. I cannot confirm nor deny that I am in fact hiding aliens. If I were to mention that, as I said, NASA gets kind of persnickety about that sort of thing if they don't talk about it first. So I would lose out on that sweet, sweet NASA money. Um, yes, my denial is proof. Where was I going with this? So, what that means is that I am taking on the director position, which means I am taking on a whole lot more work. I am going to be in charge of. So, right now, my duties were primarily concerned with public outreach off campus. Well, public outreach involving the observatory and particularly things that were off campus. Now, I get to take on but the observatory budget, yay! I get to control the money. I get to pay the tour guides. I get to hire the tour guides. I get to, and now I get to deal with the university itself. I get for any university sponsored events on campus. I am now in charge of that, and so one of those things is going. One of those events is the eclipse that's coming up, which I will talk about in a moment. And this box is here for a reason. NASA money is my money. It's mine too, actually. See, this is the whole social construct for it, is that NASA money is my money as well. So how are we going to solve this problem? In that you obviously don't want NASA to exist. I very much do want NASA to exist. So how are we going to solve that issue? And by the way, police is your money, firemen is your money. I mean, it's a public service, so yes. I am going to be some damn bean counter. Yes, I am moving up in the bureaucratic ladder, which I'm actually thrilled about. But I am. My workload is definitely ramped up considerably. I'm hoping that once everything becomes official, because this isn't official yet, I am, when this becomes official and Peter gets promoted or moved up to the executive director, and I become the director, then we can start. Then I can start asking for a teaching load reduction, meaning that I don't have to teach as many classes. Right now, I have to teach 3 classes per semester. I know this is all very fascinating to y'all, but I have to teach 3 classes a semester on top of my observatory duties. I'm hoping I can cut that down to 2 classes with the observatory. So what does this have to do with the price of tea in China? And that is taxation is theft. Prove me wrong. I don't know how you're going to pay for civil. I don't know how you're going to pay for the police department or the fire department or I don't know hospitals, because with hospitals they're either publicly funded or they're funded by corporations. So take your pick as to who you want funding that. That all being said, what's going to happen, what's going to effectively mean is that for this channel, which is monetized, by the way. So if you want to give me a super chat, particularly you, Sovereign, because I know you want to give me money. If you want to support, obviously I'm put out the spiel. If you want to support the channel financially, please do so through Patreon, PayPal, or become a channel member. When it comes to this channel, what's going to happen is that I am going to do, hopefully once a week, a shouting into the void where I do this. I just ramble on about just random shit, presumably science related or astronomy related in one form or another. And then I will hope to schedule the off conversation with a science skeptic. Right now, I would want to get to, I've been trying to get a hold of Lucky Haskins. He's put a couple of comments in one of my videos that I haven't been able to respond to because I haven't had the time. But I've been trying to track him down to get a specific time so that he and I can have a conversation, particularly given one of the videos that he put out concerning PhDs or talking heads, experts, that sort of thing. I really want to talk to him about that. I'm also wanting to get a hold of Alan Space Audits and basically kind of just check in because he has had a fairly rapid rise within the Aether community, and I just kind of wanted to get more information on what that was, how that feels, and what's going on in that community. Because I have talked to him before that he was my actual first guest, science skeptic guest, and I asked him why, and he was one of the more forthcoming as to why he believes that the Earth is flat, primarily because he does not trust governments at all, and he believes that NASA is actively lying to us. So I'd like to see whether or not what his beliefs on that are moving forward. Hey, thank you, Judy. Yes, I feel bad because I am begging. God damn it. But for a good cause. For a good cause. Fund it however you want. Don't steal it from me to do it. I don't know how you would fund it if you didn't tax people for it. But there we go. Grumpy Old Mechanic. Why do science skeptics think every university library has hundreds of meters of shelf space devoted to astronomy and geophysics journals? Well, we used to, or I don't know about hundreds of meters, but now it's a digital age. So we just look it up on ye old interwebs. But thank you, Judy, for the contribution, which I'll get to in a second as to why that is important. Where was I going with this? I have no idea where I was going with this. Oh yeah. So yes, on this stream or on this channel, we're gonna have hopefully a weekly shouting into the void. Maybe I can actually get consistent as to when that's going to be. I'd like to reach out to science skeptics and have conversation with them. I don't want to debate whether or not the Earth is flat. I don't want to debate whether or not cosmology is a thing. What I'd like to know is why it is, what people believe, if it is not what science tells us or what science tells you, and why you don't trust or don't believe what folks like myself and others are saying. If it's a good idea, you shouldn't have to tax. Yeah, but as I said, people are selfish. So getting people to spend money on anything, even if they think it's a good idea, I don't have that much faith. Particularly if things like, again, police and fire. I don't think that people are going to fund that. But anyway. Need to differentiate between science and scientism. I really don't like that word. You're going to have to define what scientism is to me. I think I know what I have heard definition, or rather I've, within context, I have understood what scientism is, but it would be nice to have someone actually define it for me. The University of Montana Library, Astrophysics and Astrophysical Journals, about 100 meters at about 1,000 papers to the meter. Nice. But that does not mean I'm leaving social media. What that means is that I am transitioning over. I am trying to create my own, or I'm still trying to create a social media empire, but now it is not for me, it is for the observatory at large. So GMU Observatory has its own YouTube channel. Right now it is almost exclusively Evening Under the Stars public talks that we've done in the past. But I am working with my tour guides who are far younger than I am, far more, hip to the tick of the talks and the Insta of the grams and things of that nature. And we're going to be putting out content. They are going to be putting out content of their own, and that is astronomy related. That's going to be more comedic, as it were. If you've seen it, I put one short that we have done one thing so far, which is a short about the eclipse that's coming up. I put it on my channel, but it is on the GMU Observatory channel. So if you are interested in following what we do here at the observatory, particularly given this big project that's coming up, I would I would please sub to that channel, because I hope to do get that monetized, because the money from there is strictly going to the observatory. No question. It's going to go to funding funding our guides. It's going to be going into funding our our summer camps, which are space themed, which I hope to continue. We did one last summer. We're going to do one this summer, which I think our attendance is now, or registrations are now at least double, if they're not 3 times as much as they were before. So that's where my focus is going to be, is to create short and long form content that's going to go on YouTube. YouTube, it's going to be strictly edited astronomy videos that I take a specific concept like Kepler's laws, and break it down in like a 20-minute video, or doing little shorts that we can post on YouTube, or little bit longer short form content for TikTok and Instagram. I need to set up those accounts. Also, we have an X account for, which I don't like, but we have it. But I'm going to set up a Threads and just post on there. And so that's going to be where I'm, from a YouTube standpoint, from a what's the word I'm looking for? From a social media standpoint, that's where I'm putting my energy, is because I want the observatory to have a larger footprint. I want it to be known. I love it here, and I want good things to happen with our observatory, particularly our tour guides, who are the bread and butter of they do the work for our observatory. Love them. And so this is what, as the potential new director of the observatory, that is where I think that is my vision. That is my focus. So that is what's going on. So I'm going to be, I don't put a lot of time into, I don't put as much time into this YouTube channel as I really, really wanted to. But now, like I said, it's going to be far more casual. It's going to be, the only thing I'm going to post regularly are these things. I am going to try to get more conversations on here, but that's basically it. For astronomy educational content, for astronomy news, again, GMU Observatory, and here we go. Let me do this. All right, I can find that later. The YouTubeage. Why is the internet slow? There we go. So here, paste. Yes, Reggie, howdy. I think that I think you've asked for that before, and yes, I will put that on the top of my list. I will make an edited video about black holes and post that to the GMU Observatory channel. If I have time, I will also post it to my channel, but I won't be introducing myself as Professor Parks, PhD. I will be introducing myself as Dr. Rob Parks, the director of the observatory. So I will be posting the same content onto the observatory, and I will be posting but it's primarily going to go on the observatory. Now, I realize that I have a couple patrons and I have some channel members. Don't worry, I am going to continue as best I can to put special content out on for channel members only, or and also patrons only. This is going to be more behind the scenes kind of stuff. and which I hope you might find interesting. Again, with the project, what I'm really hoping to be able to do is to follow the. I am going to be well positioned to give an inside view of the project that involves NASA. And so, can we have an astrology video by Professor Sparks? We can. I can do that. I still haven't quite worked with Professor Sparks as to what kind of content he wants to put out, but he is a astro psychic by trade, and so we will see. So yeah, if follow the GMU Observatory for exciting new updates. So just to recap, my plans for doing edited astronomy content for this channel no longer happening. That is going to be solely for GMU Observatory. The link to the channel is in, I just put it in chat. If you could subscribe, that would be wonderful. We can get our sub count up, and yeah, I'm really, if you haven't been able to tell, I'm really excited about this, and it's killing me that I can't tell you what this project is, because yeah, Peter is over the moon with it. It doesn't have anything to do with the moon. I can tell you that right now. We're not launching anything to the moon. Yeah, for an astronomer, this is a feather in the cap. This is kind of what you do it for. Like, particularly if you're an instrumentalist. If you are somebody who loves building cameras and things like this, this is top tier. You really can't do better than this. So thank you, Rachie. So yeah, I'm very excited. I'm only going to be tangentially a part of it. I'm not a part of the investigative team, as it were, but I am going to be in charge of one of the ground facilities for the project. Oops, ground facility. Ooh, maybe I've said too much. So anyway, all that being said, so yes, I will in fact be part of an actual NASA endeavor. So I guess you can call me a shill, because before, and I've double checked, I have never been paid by NASA. All of my research was funded by the NSF. So if I'm a shill, it's to the National Science Foundation. So what is this? It's a new toy. This I got through department money. Ha 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 ha. Oh, so getting back to the funding from patrons and so forth like that. The thing that I want to buy next is a C-Star, which is basically it's an auto telescope. I can't remember how they're defining those things nowadays, but it is a very, very straightforward, very easy to use telescope designed for astrophotography. You can't look at it. There is no eyepiece to look at. It is literally a camera with a 4-inch lens in front of it. So you can kind of think of it as a huge telephoto camera. And I'm hoping it's $500. I'm trying to save my pennies to buy one, particularly for the eclipse that's coming up that I keep on mentioning. For those of you who are not aware, on April 8th of this year, there is a total solar eclipse that can be seen across the continental United States, coming in from southern Texas all the way out through Maine. So there is a strip which is called Totality, and I will be doing at this point, I'm contractually obligated to do a video on solar eclipses, and I will put out next week is spring break for me, so my goal is to put out the solar eclipse video. So yeah, that's probably going to be first, then black holes. You want to create a solar eclipse video that will explain things like path-of-totality, why it is that you have to be within the path of totality in order to see the entire sun blocked out. Other than that, you're going to be outside of that path. You can only see it as a partial eclipse. I'll go on into all of that into that video. I want to get that C-Star because you can get a filter for it, and I can live stream with it. My intention is to go to Indianapolis, and I hope to be able to live stream the solar eclipse event for all of y'all. You know, there are going to be plenty of live streams out there of this event. It is huge. But I'm going to be in the Indianapolis Motor Speedway with a whole bunch of other folks from Purdue and NASA. It's an open, it's open to everybody, but NASA and Purdue have partnered in order to do this. So I'm going to be in the, for those of you who like, is it NASCAR? I don't know if it's NASCAR. If you like racing, if you like car racing in a circle, then it's in a historic site. We're going to be down basically in the middle of the track, and I'm going to try to do my best to figure out how to live stream from that location. And I want to use the C-Star to do it because it will be very easy to do. Yeah, so stay tuned on that. Sleeping Warrior is still around. Still, he's a mod on your channel, Rachie. Okay. All right. Howdy. First and last name. I am not going to pronounce the Greek. So yeah, I'm going to be streaming from there. So the pennies that I make from this channel are going to go to buying me a C-Star. But I was able to use department funds to buy this. Yay. What is this, you might ask? Well, for a mere $700, you can buy yourself one of these lovelies. Coronado PST, Personal Solar Telescope. And I have oh no, it's right there. Comes with a snazzy gold eyepiece, which is an 18 millimeter. I haven't calculated what the field of view is on that, but that's a pretty good magnification. Actually, we looked at it. It's actually, we tested it out. We're having a little bit of problems with the mount, but mainly we need a piece to connect the damn thing to the mount. But we actually took it out and basically used it by hand. I propped it up on a bike rack to use it. And the field of view is actually about twice the size of the sun. Now, this is what's known as an H-alpha scope or H-alpha telescope. Doink. So, what makes this different than any other telescope, or than a normal telescope, as it were, is with your traditional telescope, the way the traditional telescope operates is take off the caps, very important. Light comes in through the top. This would be a effectively it's a mixed optical system. You have a lens right here that you can see. Light comes in, gets refracted off that lens, goes into the body of the telescope, and essentially there is a mirror here which will reflect the light to an eyepiece. So you look through the eyepiece, point the thing at your object, bing, bang, boom. That's how it is. What makes this different than any other telescope, than a traditional telescope, is that it is specifically designed to look at a single target, and that target is the sun. Now, the sun obviously is bright. I am, again, also obligated, financial reasons, to say, do not look at the sun with your unaided eye. Just don't do it. As I like to remind folks, your retina has no nerve endings. So you will not feel yourself going blind. You will just go blind. I don't know how long it takes to go blind looking at the sun, but hey, I don't want to go blind. I don't want anyone else to go blind. Don't look at the sun unaided. You certainly don't want to do it through a telescope, because you're basically, that would be like holding up a magnifying glass to the sun and letting it beam straight into your eyeball. Bad news bears. Don't do it. Don't do it. You can get eclipse glasses for like $1. I have some over there. I've had them on my face many times on this channel. But if you wanted to look at it through a telescope, there are 2 ways you can do it. The one way is you can get a solar filter, which is a neutral density or gray filter, where light comes in through a piece of glass that essentially looks like a welder's mask, or glass from a welder's mask, cuts out like 99% of the light, and you're able to see a magnified view of the sun. You can see sunspots, prominences, and so forth and like that. Really nice. Or you can get one of these puppies, which is not just it's not just filtered for the sun. It is filtered for H alpha, which is hydrogen alpha. This is emission from the sun at a very specific wavelength that is centered at 656 nanometers for all of you science nerds out there, which is red. The reason why it's important, why we want to look at hydrogen alpha, is the sun is primarily a big ball of burning hydrogen, or a big ball of fusing hydrogen in its core. So all of the fun stuff on the surface, technical term, all of the granulation, the prominences, the sunspots are best seen in H alpha. Like the sun is, and when it's active like it is now, it is an amazing thing to witness. With that gray filter that I was talking about before, the white light filter, you can see sunspots, sure. You can see prominences on the limb, but you can't see granulation. You can't see like the small convective cells on the surface of the sun. You miss out on a lot of the just the interesting surface features that are on the sun. And so that is what this is for. Now, the only telescope that the away team for us, for GMU, is going to Indianapolis. So GMU has 3 things going on. We have a team going to Dallas for a heliophysics, sun physics conference. They are going to be taking this little guy and a small Newtonian telescope. This is going to be used to look at the sun outside of totality. So you're going to be able to film the sun using and film what the surface of the sun looks like using this. And then with the gray filter, or with the Newtonian, that is going to be used to film during totality. Because what Dr. Ji Zhang is the professor who's going to be leading this. He is interested in the solar corona, basically the very hot, excited gas, very tenuous gas around the sun. Think of it as the upper layer of its atmosphere, if you want. He's very much interested in that. That's his primary view of study. So what he wants is a nice picture or video of the corona so that he can advertise with it effectively. As I said, I'm going to Indy. I'm hoping to be able to bring my own Sea Star to live view from, or live stream from. We're definitely bringing a Lund solar telescope, which is essentially the bigger, badder version of this thing. This thing is about 40 millimeters. The Lund that we're taking is about 150 millimeters, so about a little over 3 times the size. Heavy as shit. But it is also a dedicated H alpha solar scope, and that's it. And then the other thing that we're going to be doing here, which is because of potentially being promoted, I am also going to have to plan, is here at George Mason, we're going to have an eclipse event. We're going to have 3 8-inch telescopes that are properly shielded for the sun. gray, white, or neutral density filter, solar filters. And we're going to have them out in Merton Lawn, if you know what that or where that is. And so folks can go by. Now, for us here in Dallas and in Indianapolis, they're within the path of totality. So we will be able to see the total of the sun completely eclipsed by the moon. For folks here in Fairfax, DC area, it's going to be 89%. So 89% of the moon, the sun is going to be blocked out by the moon, which might sound like that's a lot, but I have been told, sadly, I have not been able to see a solar eclipse yet, but I have been told the difference between 89% and a total solar eclipse is off the charts. You cannot compare the two. Apparently, totality is seeing a total solar eclipse is almost like a life-changing event if you're an astronomer, because it is just so surreal. Watching because the stars come out. I've talked about it before. Stars come out, nocturnal animals come out. It's a thing. So yeah. So yeah, that's what's going on. So what's going on the chat? I see Google lunar distance by parallax for a method of estimating lunar distance during a solar eclipse. Yeah. Although for the solar eclipse, honestly, and I think they did it in 2017. I know there was a group trying to do it in 2017 using more modern equipment, but I think there's a more concerted global effort not quite global effort, nationwide effort to actually do the Eddington experiment using high precision CCDs for the eclipse. I would love to see whether or not that actually happens. First and last says, may I ask, Rachie, what particular observation, measurement, or experiment made you first realize that the Earth cannot be flat? Preponderance of it was a preponderance of evidence, not just one thing. Away teams, yes. I would like to have uniforms, but but Peter does not like the idea of uniforms. I will see if I can figure something out. I've seen one as a child, love solar eclipses. I've seen two solar eclipses, but they were both partials. One in 2017 and the other one really, I don't even remember what the second one was. But yeah, it was cool. I really liked it. I've seen obviously a fair half dozen maybe solar or lunar eclipses, but I've never seen a total solar eclipse. And yeah. And if I were to stay America bound, the next solar eclipse that will, the path goes into any part of the continental United States is going to be 20 years from now. And while I hope I'm around, yeah, and I hope that I am still able to move about and be able to travel for the eclipse, I don't want to wait 20 years. But there again, I think it's 2028, there's going to be this interesting path. It comes in from Greenland, of all places, passes through Iceland, and then into Spain. And Madrid is real close to the path of totality. So I'm thinking maybe I need to go to Spain in a couple, 3 years, particularly if we have clouds. So, or I might just do it anyway. The solar eclipse in 1999 was visible in the UK. Stormtrooper uniforms, maybe, but we want to keep it with the Star Trek theme, I think. Definitely no red shirts, though. Definitely no red shirts. Let's see. But yeah, so that's really all I had to say today for this stream. I'm going to cut it a bit short because, as I said, a lot of work. I got a lot of work to do. We have an Evening Under the Stars tonight by Dr. James Haber. He is going to talk about the history of, well, not history, but lunar or Martian rovers. He is a Martian geologist, and so he is going to be talking about the what's the word I'm looking for? What have we learned from the past couple decades of rover not experimentation, but rover observations? What have we gained by spending that money, that taxpayer money, and sending those rovers to that? So I'm very excited about that. Sadly, the weather sucks, so it's definitely going to be a closed dome tour, but I am going to be filming it. Hopefully I won't screw it up like I did last time and actually film the whole thing. And I will be posting that onto the GMU Observatory channel and my channel as soon as I can. I see that my iMovie, that it actually successfully created the video for Dr. Pepper. I will be posting that again also to GMU and to my channel sometime later today, so you have that to look forward to. He is, as I may have mentioned before, the title of his talk is Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. Dr. Pepper is a planet hunter. He has found 28 exoplanets that have been confirmed using the kilodegree extra little telescope, or KELT. He is, like I said, he is now at NASA. Not entirely certain what he's doing over there, but he's over there. And he is looking at the problem of extraterrestrial life through the eyes of a planet hunter. And so primarily most of the talk is talking about exoplanets, how they are discovered, that's the techniques involved. And at the end, he sort of ties it into what are the exoplanets that we're actually finding, given the data that we have, and what are the implications of life in regards to these new types of worlds that we're finding, because we're finding planets that do not have analogs within our own solar system. So again, the evidence is pointing that way. I shouldn't be so definitive as to say these planets are so weird, but there is strong evidence to suggest that there are planets out there that we do not have analogs for in our own solar system, such as water worlds that are almost exclusively liquid water. Professor Parks, would you someday discuss gravity and centrifugal force at any chance? I had a discussion with one of your Flat Earth subscribers, and maybe she would listen to you. You're probably talking about Stephanie. She is the only Flat Earth subscriber who I very much appreciate. She is the only one that is, not only one, she's the most active in my comment sections. I probably won't, honestly, because I can science that has done it better than I have. Other folks have done it better. I'm going to be primarily focused in on doing astronomy that is, or edited videos, educational content that is strictly astronomy outside of the Earth, black holes, pulsars, planetary nebulae, these sorts of things. So I'm going to take certain concepts and try to break it down into a very concise, pointed lesson on what is a planetary nebula, how is it different, what is that would be one video, a supernova remnant. What is that? Even though those two things look, to the unaided or untrained eye, those two they look very similar to each other. They are effectively the same thing. They are nebulae. They are clouds of gas. But when you look deeper into them, they are distinctly different, and they are certainly formed differently. So that's the kind of thing. I will be doing, one of the things that I would like to do is I would like to do a video that is strictly about weird planets. You can find videos like that on YouTube, but I'd like to do my own, where I talk about the water worlds, I talk about the lava worlds, talk about the potential of a diamond world out there. So a world where the mantle is primarily composed of diamonds. So, yeah, I think that would be cool. I already have it in mind. I was going to do this for Evening of the Stars, but unfortunately, I fell ill and wasn't able to do it. It was going to be a the shtick that I was going to use was what did I call it? Professor Park's Planetary Properties, because, like I said, I love me some alliteration. And I would be approaching it as if I were a real estate salesman trying to sell you property on these various worlds. And by doing so, I would explain, what these worlds are made of, or what we believe that they are made of, what kind of atmospheres they might have, that sort of thing. What about a series on different types of aliens? Dr. Wells, I cannot deny such a video would be against policy. I could not. It would be too speculative. It would be too speculative for me to go over the various forms of grays and reptilians and such. So no, sadly, I cannot. I am forbidden to do different types of aliens. Galactic cannibalism, that is definitely one of the things that I wanted to look into, because that has vast implications onto not just galactic evolution, but also has cosmological implications, specific in the early universe. Do I have all the data? Do I have all of the data? No, I don't have all of the data. Do I have most of the data? Yeah. No, I do not have most of the data. No. If I have that data, yes. If I have that data, which I certainly don't have the data, I would refuse to share with you. Yes. I know I don't share. And it's just it's a travesty. I am a bad person. But anyway. Well, anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this little on the stream. It's only, like I said, been an hour long, an hour and 15 minutes long. And thank you all for being here. For those of you who are watching this on Memorex, thank you for watching. I'm entering a fairly exciting new chapter professionally because of this recent partnership project that one of my colleagues, that the director of the observatory is working with NASA. I am going to be promoted to the director of the observatory. And so my focus is going to be on making our observatory as large of a public outreach source as I and my team can make it. So that means, and this is daunting to me, but I'm hoping that with the support of the tour guides, I can actually manage this. This means a flood of content that's going to be posted, like I said, primarily on the observatory, the GME Observatory YouTube, but also on mine as well. So I'm very excited about that. But with that, don't forget. With that, I am Professor Parks, PhD. I make videos on astronomy, science skepticism, and mental health. If you would, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications, because I'm a chaotic son of a bitch, and I don't post regularly. So if you definitely want to know what's going on, I try to schedule the streams at least a few hours in advance to give you more of a heads up. Like I said, if you'd like to support the channel, Patreon, PayPal, Discord, or channel members, monies will go to astronomy, essentially, either for things like the planetary camera that was bought through Patreon money for the observatory, or hopefully the Sea Star that I'm going to get for myself for the solar eclipse. Which, if I do get it, I will be putting out a live stream just looking at that thing, like an unboxing, as it were. And hopefully I can actually get it so that I might be even be able to do a live stream by using it. So we'll see. I need to get it, and I need to figure out how it works in order to figure that out. Howdy, Tony. I am actually wrapping up. So, well, that sucks. Oh, that reminds me. I do also plan on, I wanted to make it happen at some point. I want to have that round robin discussion about scientific method. So that will definitely happen. So there might be one-offs where I do streams that are not shouting into the void and not science skepticism, but just talking in general about just science in general, be it what is gravity, how is the scientific method used across fields. So what I do is I get some of my big brain friends on stream, and we just kind of go over it. So feel free to start now. Sadly, I am ending now, Tony. So, but yes, he said I have. What time is it? It's 4:17. So yeah, in about 15 minutes or so, I have a student coming in, so I can. One of the tour guides who is wanting some help with some physics. So I always have trouble letting you guys go. I always have trouble just saying goodbye. Goodbye sucks. Anyway, this has been me. It's been fun. And with that, the outro still needs to be worked on, but peace out. Clear.